Hi, welcome to today's video. I'm Laurent from Auterion, and today I would like to walk you through the Auterion suite. The Auterion suite is really the centerpiece of your drone operation. So for operators, for drone program managers, it provides you with the whole overview over your fleet, your pilots, your vehicles, all the flights, the locations, the output, everything that you need when it comes to managing a drone program. But at the same time, it is also a very powerful tool for drone manufacturers or developers because it doesn't only give you the overview, it really also goes deep down into the detail of every single flight, for every vehicle down to a sensor level, so that it can be used also as a debugging tool for your drone development. So let's jump right into it. So what we're looking at here is the overview. We're looking at the Auterion test fleet. So you can see that it's a very healthy fleet. It's currently at 12 vehicles, 10 of those are active. You have quite a number of flights. You can see overall flight time and distance. You can also immediately see a map with all the locations where we flew in the last couple of months. Further down and more operator related, you see weather outlook. You can specify or configure any location that you want to. Gives you immediate overview of the current weather situation. So cloud coverage, but also chance of rain or snowfall, wind speed and direction, everything you know in order to make sure that safe drone operations are possible today. You get also the overview stats over the operations, so about the latest warnings, about the latest flights, their status, when they happened, what vehicle was used. You can also see stats around which vehicles were mostly used, what software version they were running, and also in what modes these drones were flying. And as you can see here, since we are testing drones for enterprise operations, we are mostly flying really in the automatic modes and very barely use manual modes here for the tests. You also get an overview of the fleet health. Now here you can see quite a lot of warnings, but that's because it's a development fleet, so there's supposed to be warnings because we also use this fleet to test new versions of the release, which obviously results in warnings that then we can use to analyze and to fix. There are also some performance stats down here, really everything you need to get a brief overview of your fleet. Let's jump over to the vehicle section. So here you get a complete list of vehicles. Those might be actual drones. Those might also be bench setups, as you can see here, that you use during testing. You can select any of these vehicles to get a more detailed overview. So let's look at this example here. You can immediately see whether the drone is on or offline. So all the drones that we use are equipped with LTE modules. So basically they send back information as soon as they're turned on. And this particular drone at the moment is offline. You can see the type of the airframe. This is a VTOL drone. You can even see the flight control version, the software version. Also, there are some small but very powerful buttons up here, and the one which is the most interesting one is definitely the update button. If you click it, you can, without actually touching the drone, update the software. So it's an over-the-air update. You can select a different version. So there's quite a long list here, again, because it's the development fleet. You can select it, and then you can update it immediately if it's online, or like this one, when it's offline, schedule an update for some later point in time. I could schedule this here, but I don't want to mess around with the vehicle, so I'll close again. But this is really a very useful feature because it makes managing a fleet and managing updates so much easier compared to do manual individual updates of every single vehicle. For this particular vehicle also, you can basically see the summary here, how much it has been flown, how what's the total flight time is, average flight time, distance, etc. And you can also immediately see the map of the last flight. So there's been some loiters and some waypoints that we flew. You can also see a list of the most recent flights that this vehicle did, and from here you can jump directly into the flight details. So let's just select one of those, and this now gives you the detailed overview of this particular flight. So again, we're looking at this vehicle. You can see when and where this flight happened. You can even download the raw log, the complete log. Also, overview of weather, duration, etc. up here, and again the map and the trajectory, where you can see how this drone was flown. And then what I mentioned in the beginning, so here it's really where the power of the analytics kick in, because you can really see already here on the left side, there's a long list of data that you can look at. Even including things like state estimation, and I'm quickly going to look at one of these yellow ones. Those indicate a warning. So we have state estimation and we have IMU vibration metrics. I can directly jump down to those, and we can see that there was a peak in the vibration here, and really all the detail that you need for every individual sensor. So that's not just IMU vibration, that's really a huge number of different data that you can use for analytics, that you can use to debug your drones during development. So that's an example of one flight. You also have the complete overview of the flights over here. So that's not only for one particular vehicle, but really for the complete fleet. You can see when those flights were done, what vehicle was used, the type of the drone, etc., and also identify the status of those particular flights. So now that after we've looked into one which had a warning, we can also quickly jump into one which is healthy. This will be the more regular case for a production vehicle. Again, we're looking at the development fleet, so that's why they're not only healthy fleets. And here you can basically see exactly the same data that I mentioned before, but here it turns out that all the data is healthy, so no indication for any warning or even any critical events. The next feature that I would like to show you is the simulations. So in this section, what you can do without installing any additional software, you can actually run simulations in the cloud. So this gives you, again, two different kinds of use cases. For operators, it offers a way to train, to practice drone flights, drone missions. For developers, on the other hand, it also gives you the possibility to test new developments before you actually go out to the field. And this is, again, very powerful. And for our demo, I already started the simulation. Starting a simulation is literally as simple as clicking a button. So you click here, you give it a name, you choose a vehicle, you choose a world, and then you create it. So I've already done this some time ago. So we have a running simulation here that I can use. I can copy and paste the IP address and the port number here. So that's how I basically connect to the server. And I can then go over to Auterion Mission Control, our ground control station software, which lets me configure the communication link here in the settings. And if this wouldn't be connected as it is now, I could go to Edit, add the IP and the port and connect it, and then get access to the simulation. So I've done that already, so I cannot change that anymore. So let's go back to the fly view. And you can already see that there's even a video feed. So you can see the live video feed coming from the drone. You can switch over to the map view. So this is where the simulation is taking place. The drone is currently still on the ground. So let me switch back to the fly view and just give you a very quick demonstration of what you could do here. So let's trigger a takeoff to a little more than 10 meters altitude. This is a simple swipe on the screen here. Simulation, by the way, could also be run on an actual hardware controller. So I'm running the simulation now here on my laptop, but I could also use a hardware controller and start the simulation from there. So let me move down the gimbal. It's currently pointing up in the sky. So as you can see, there's, in this particular world, there's a cell tower. Let me climb up a little higher, and then we can quickly fly over and take a quick look at this cell tower to show you what you can do. So I'm really only using automatic maneuvers here. I'm not giving any stick inputs. Again, as I said, you could run this on a ground controller with sticks. You could even have virtual sticks. But for the sake of this demonstration, I'll just use the automatic maneuvers. So I can, for example, go to actions and set a go to a particular location, and then let the drone fly to this location. You can see here the picture-in-picture of the video. So now if we look down, we're right above the cell tower. So what we can do now is, let me go back. There is not only the go-to or the point of interest, there is also an orbit function that I can use, which is very handy for inspection flight. So I set the center here, the radius of 50 meters, I can change it. So I make it a little smaller, and I'll execute. And now what the drone is going to do is going to fly this orbit, and it's going to automatically point the nose to the center of the orbit. So if we look over here, let me just pull up the gimbal a little bit. And now this is how you can do, for example, inspection flights. Looking at an object from a constant distance. So this is just like a very brief demonstration of what can be done with the simulations. So I'll pause this and let's go back to the suite. Let me quickly touch on the other aspects of the suite. So there's also a compliance section that gives you a complete report of all the flights, who flew them, at what location, at what time, that you can export directly from here and give it to any stakeholders which are interested or need data about compliance. There's also the user management, where you can actually manage your users. Straightforward. You have direct access to documentation as well as support. And in the download section, you can download our developer tools if you're a manufacturer or developer. You can download the onboard software platform if you prefer to still do manual updates instead of the over-the-air version that I presented before. And you can download the mission control software, so the ground control software that I used to demonstrate the simulation, also directly from here. So this is a very quick overview and walkthrough through Auterion Suite. I hope it gave you an insight of what you can do with it, and I'm looking forward to see you again in the next video.